should just sit like this for a minute. Okay, I think I got the mic figured out. I say that like every other one though, so doesn't really mean anything. See? And clip that there. Yeah. It is getting so cold. Fall is quickly turning into winter, it feels like. So we're in the camper. If you don't know anything about me, my name is Jordan, and I'm still waking up. In my camper, I made these like reflective things to help insulate it. It was primarily for the summer to keep the camper cool, but I'm curious to see how it does over the winter, because I want to try to come in and use the little heat strip so I can keep making videos and just having a little space of my own while we're not traveling. And I just love it in here. I don't know why, but I just love being in our camper. It's like, I don't know, our little home away from home. I just love it. I'm looking at the audio levels and that's looking pretty dang high. Let's turn it down a notch. Testing. I think that's better. It's not bouncing off the walls here. I'm just gonna wait a little bit and let the heater warm up our space. Oh, I have my cacao with me. I've had this bag of cacao forever, but I've just been loving my mochas in the morning. But I've been having a little too much caffeine the last 2 weeks, so I'm trying to, in a way, detox from that. Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. Well, I guess I'll start working with my guides while the heater's going. Oops, sorry. All right. Well, my journaling didn't yield as much as I wanted, but that's okay. We're just gonna take it as it comes. That's what she said. Oh my goodness. I've just been reflecting a lot on my life in the goal and the hopes to just ground in more gratitude and just kind of being happy with where I'm at, because I had heard a reading talking about how if you can't sit and enjoy what you have, then when you get the thing that you've been manifesting, you're only going to appreciate it or be excited about it for like a very short amount of time before you're looking for the next thing. And that really stuck with me. And so I've just been kind of thinking about like how far I've come and how many things that I've done, and just like really being proud and grateful for where I'm at. And I've noticed a huge shift in just my day-to-day mentality. So I want to give you guys just some backstory, because I've shared this on my TikTok before in a few different ways, but I have no idea how old those videos are. So I grew up in a really small town in Oregon, and I grew up on the same lot as my grandparents. So my mom had her double wide And then about 10 feet behind our house was my grandparents' house. So we would just go back and forth between my grandparents and our house when we were kids. And this was like really young. And we had one of my favorite memories, which is probably still there, because unfortunately we did move when I was young, and my uncle took that house. And long story short, it sounds like someone set his house on fire because that was something crazy. Maybe I'll tell you that story if you guys want to hear it. But it's pretty sad, but thankfully everyone turned out okay. So that house is no longer there. But when we had it, my other uncle had built us a fence, and we had put our little kid handprints in the cement posts. And I really want to try to find it. I keep thinking about that randomly, where I'm like, oh, I want to go see my little kid handprint, but it's probably so overgrown, I don't even know where I would start looking. But we grew up there, and we had moved away to another town in Oregon called Canby when I think I was in 3rd or 4th grade. Lived there for a couple years, moved to Dundee, Oregon, which is right outside of Newburgh, in between like Newburgh and McMinnville. And went to high school at Newburgh, and God, that feels like such a different life from now. It feels like a dream. Guys, I just sat here and talked to you for 30 goddamn minutes, and my camera wasn't recording. Life is fine. Life is fine. I'm trying to decide if I want to redo that or just go on to something different. Like the crows outside are laughing at me. Well, here we are. Back in our camper. Back in my cozy little spot. I'm so flabbergasted. I can't believe I wasn't recording any of that. That is crazy. I'm just going to kind of cliff notes it because I kind of rambled a little bit in the first one, so maybe that's good. I basically was just talking to y'all for 30 minutes about how I've been really focusing on being grateful for what I have, which sounds kind of like, I don't know, stereotypical of like spiritual people to say, right? Like, you should meditate and be grateful and blah, blah, blah. I can't think of anything else. My goodness. But I really am wanting to feel grateful, and here's why. So I had listened to something that had said, sorry, that crow is like making me laugh. Sounds like he's laughing. If you get everything you want, you tend, and you're not grateful for them, you're not in the practice of gratitude and really being in the present moment, and which is really hard in this day and age. If you're not in that habit, and you're like, you go to work, you come home, you scroll on your phone, or you do things with your kids, and you go to bed and you do it all over again, like you're living on autopilot, you tend to get things that you've wanted, but you don't appreciate them. And then it's not as exciting. It's not as fun to get it. You're just like, okay, now I have a new phone, or okay, now I have the truck I wanted. Now what? And it's just not as a fulfilling or satisfying experience. And I've been thinking about that because when I really wanted my new snake, Luna, when I was really, really wanting her, I could just feel it. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to cuddle her and hug her and like feel the weight of her, because she's a ball python and she's like a sub-adult, so she's got a little girth to her. And I like couldn't, like I was so excited for those things. And I've been trying not to pick her up because I've had her for about 3 weeks now, and just trying to let her acclimate, because we live in an old house. It's very creaky. It's very loud. the floors, you know, the dogs run around and you can feel it on the floor. So I'm trying to just give her space, you know, and let her not be too stressed by also being handled. And on top of that, she has the wobble condition, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a motor skill issue due to breeding. So she's just unsteady with her head and she wobbles a lot. It's really cute. And so far the owner who had her said that it hasn't impacted her eating at all, which I can tell because she's, you know, an adult. But I've also just been trying to give her space so she can find her way around her aquarium and her tank and get used to like the decorations and the bedding and the things in there so she doesn't poke an eye out with her wobble. And all of this to say, I've kind of lost my excitement with her because I haven't been able to take her out as much because I'm trying to let her acclimate. And so she's kind of like out of sight, out of mind at the moment. And it just made me kind of realize that I want to be so super present with all of these things and keep my excitement high. One, because it's more exciting for me, and I just bumped my microphone, but it's more exciting for me, but it's also kind of keeps my perspective light, and it keeps my mentality in a lighter mode. Like, I'm not looking at everything through a negative lens. And if those thoughts come in, I've noticed that it's a lot easier for me to pivot those thoughts or change those thoughts versus if I'm not already in that state, it feels like a lot of effort. Sorry. But it's been a really fun thing to just practice gratitude. And I've recently taken a break from being on my phone on social media, and what a fucking difference. Can I just say that? Like, what a difference. I genuinely went from just being so sad and depressed with the state of the world and how people treat each other and people's mentality towards each other. And I feel like everyone wants to be like this super cool superhero, and we're all just basic bitches, you know? We just don't want to admit it. We just don't want to admit it. But when I am on social media a lot and you don't have the option to not witness traumatic things when you're there. And that really, it fucks me up. It really messes me up, and it messes me up for days, if not weeks, depending on the video and how horrific I think it is. And I think some things we do need to be aware of. And I also agree that our brains are not meant to be fed so much trauma without repercussions. And I mean, we know trauma impacts the brain. So if you're constantly watching negative stuff and you're constantly watching traumatic things, it's also not good for you. And then you start to behaving from a place of trauma and not a place of groundedness. And it's like the respond versus react, right? And so I took some time off. I removed apps from my phone. I deleted profiles. And I just took 2-3 weeks to just be in my life. Just fully immersed in my life, not on technology. If you've been considering it, I highly recommend it. It is a really great reset. I am slowly going back on social media. I am very, very restrictive of how long I'm on and what I'm doing. The doom scrolling has got me really, really bad. So I'm being very cautious and wanting to be on if I have something to share. Otherwise, I'm just checking my best friend's stories or their posts and getting off. YouTube is basically my only social media that I'm on, just because you can pick and choose your adventure there. And it just really has put me into this different mindset and just reminding me of a bunch of random stuff that I just want to share here in case someone finds it valuable. But I forget this too. And my husband reminds me all the time because he's not on social media at all. If you want to look up the dead internet theory, I would suggest doing that. There's also, I don't know what it is, so you'd have to look it up, but there's evidence that, with all of the bots and things like that, there are places around the world where they have these like cell phone farms, and they just have a bunch of trolls basically rage baiting us. And so the majority of the people that you're interacting, I think it's a high percentage, like 80% or something crazy like that. There's like an 80% chance that the person or the profile that you're communicating with isn't even a real person behind the screen, but a bot, or a bot from these like cell phone farms. And so I just want to give you that little nugget, because a lot of the times rage baiting is the best way to create divisiveness. It's the best way to get people on one side versus another. Another way to say divisiveness, Jordan. But it's a way to activate your nervous system. And when you're activating your nervous system, you're not thinking logically, right? You're in your survival reptilian brain. So you're going to be responding to these people in a way that is not authentic to you and is not helpful and doesn't do anything, because it's most likely not even a person. So you're just yelling at another computer. So I just want to share that, because that helped me realize that there's just some people out there that are dicks, and there's a lot of profiles out there that are not real, and they're very good at copying. And I know that personally through, just as a side example, through my job, there's a lot of scammers out there that pretend to be editors or publishers, and they use our company's logos and signatures, and they find them on LinkedIn and just create these fake emails. And then they scam authors out of money and their work. And it's horrific, and it's sad, and it's happening. So if you can take a break from social media, do it. Just take some freaking time to yourself, reset your mind and your brain, and really tune in to what you have around you and what can you be grateful for right now. And unfortunately, I think really comparing your life to other people's lives in our country is a great example. And if you can't find anything in that, just simply look at the people in Gaza and how their life is, and be thankful that you're not in that. Be thankful that you have what you have, and that you're where you are, hopefully safe, hopefully with a roof over your head, hopefully not in a war zone. You have water, you have food, finding these little things to be grateful for, and doing it with sincerity, and finding something sincere in it, right? Because our emotions will tell our brain what to do and how to feel about certain things and what to focus on. So it's really up to us to take our focus back. It's up to us to take our emotional control back from the media. I don't know where I was going on that tangent, but I think just finding ways in little moments. It doesn't have to be this big, grandiose thing. Just feeling it in your body. Just recognizing the feeling of gratitude and manifesting that in your body. I do that a lot, where I try to find where I know what the feeling of appreciation feels like, because I've felt it before. So then I just try to pull it back up. I try to recreate it in my body, and I don't really know how to describe it. Just that. I guess just that. I just remember what it feels like, and then I artificially create it in my body so I can feel it in that moment. And then I just try to hold on to that feeling as long as I can. And I really noticed a difference in the way that I am noticing things that my dogs do that would previously annoy the shit out of me. But now when I look at them, I'm just like, oh my gosh, you are such a dork. You know, like there's a lightness that you bring to it, not a condemnation or a heaviness. Anyway, because I spent 30 minutes talking to you before, I don't have much time and I do have to get back to my day job, but hopefully this little nugget of off-roading helped you in some way. But if you guys wouldn't mind, like, subscribe, share, and I'm going to be doing more little videos like this of just chats, and in the off time, especially this winter when I won't have, fingers crossed, I don't know, but I may not have as much like camping content. I do plan on doing some test camping in our yard as I get kind of used to like winter camping, because it gets crazy cold where I'm at and I'm not trying to die. So I guess stay tuned for that in this winter, but otherwise I'll see you guys later, and thank you so much for being here.